Movie recap. This is Mandalorian Season 3. The Mandalorian is back with Din Djarin and his little baby Yoda friend Grogu. Remember, Season 2 ended with Grogu going to train to be a Jedi with Luke Skywalker, but in the Book of Boba Fett, long story short, Grogu decided he wanted to be a Mandalorian instead with his papa Mando, but when saying goodbye, Mendoza moved his helmet, showing Pedro Pascal's beautiful face, which is against the creed. He's now an apostate. He can only be redeemed in the sacred living waters on the planet of Mandalore, which is apparently totally inaccessible, so Mando goes to check it out, and indeed, it was completely destroyed by the Empire, but it's not actually radioactive. It's still a dangerous place though. Mando's immediately captured by this General Grievous droid-looking guy, so it's up to Grogu to get help from his Mandalorian auntie Bo-Katan. She busts in to rescue him. During the fight she grabs the Darksaber that he dropped and takes out this droid with it, but remember the Darksaber has to be won in combat, so it still belongs to Mando for now, so she takes Ninja into the living waters, but she neglects to mention how deep it is. Whoa, he falls down. She dives in to rescue him again, and down here she finds something very unexpected, an absolutely massive monster thing. This is the legendary Mythosaur, whose skull is the Mandalorian logo, but they're not supposed to actually exist, so Bo-Katan keeps this to herself for now. They go back to Bo-Katan's castle, but the Imperial Remnant Force is founded first and blew it up, so they go to Mando's place instead now that Mando took his magic bath. Congrats man, you're redeemed. But Bo-Katan went in the water also. And she hasn't taken her helmet off since, so technically she's redeemed too. She's like, yeah, I mean, I'm homeless now, so I may as well join this cult, and also joining the cult is Baby Yoda. Yeah, he's not a baby anymore, he's old enough to fight, and with his new Jedi jump training from Luke Skywalker, he's going to be a beast. He earns his first new armor piece, and oh, he's so stupidly cute. Meanwhile, back on Navarro, the planet the show started on, was a lawless frontier town, but now under the leadership of the High Magistrates Grief Karga, it's become a nice happy place, but some of the pirates that used to hang out here didn't get the memo. Lando's got to tell him what's what, and Captain Seaweed Davy Jones doesn't like that he tries to take over the city. They ask for help from the New Republic, but Navarro didn't join the New Republic, so it's not their problem. So Amanda's friend Captain Carson Tyver lets him know Navarro's in trouble, so Mandalorian reinforcements fly, and oh, it's an epic action episode, pew 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 flying around, and so the Mandalorians who once lived in the sewers here are now heroes of the planet and gifted a bunch of lands, but their leader the Armorer has bigger plans now that she knows Mandalore is not radioactive, and Bo-Katan told her she saw a Mythosaur, which is a sign she gives Bo-Katan permission to remove her helmet so she can go back to the other Mandalorian clans, unite them all, and retake their homeworld. On the way per usual they're roped into a side quest with Jack Black and Lizzo. It's an episode of CSI Star Wars where Christopher Lloyd is the bad guy who's a Count Dooku sympathizer. Then they find the other Mandalorians. Bo-Katan challenges to be their leader again, but it's still that same old problem. They won't follow her without the Darksaber, but now Tingen points out that he was disarmed and Bo-Katan picked it up and killed the guy who disarmed him. So if you go by Harry Potter Elder Wand rules, technically Bo-Katan is now the rightful owner of the Darksaber, so all our Mandalorians united in purpose fly out to Mandalore to take their planet back, but there's no one to take it back from. The planet's abandoned, or is it because they're ambushed by a bunch of flying jetpack stormtroopers? They lead him into a trap where Din Djarin is captured, and who is this epic black suit Mandalorian flying in? You know it, that's Moff Gideon. Yeah, at the end of Season 2, he was going off to jail in the New Republic, but of course, he escaped. It turns out these Imperial remnants are much stronger and more organized than we thought. The Shadow Council, and this ties into the Star Wars sequel trilogy, as this will be the beginnings of the First Order, most of whom are awaiting the return of their leader. Grand Admiral Thrawn is a big character from Star Wars Rebels, but Moff Gideon's like, he'll show up in the Ahsoka show. I'm the main villain of this one. Over the course of the series, we've kind of guessed that Gideon's master plan is to make clones of himself with the Baby Yoda. Force power is a technology that theoretically leads to the creation of a supreme leader. There's a whole episode devoted to the scientist who was working on that project, but he's not a bad guy. He was pardoned under the New Republic's amnesty program, but he makes friends with this other ex-Imperial who, long story short, tricks him into violating his whole, and secretly she is still loyal to the Empire, so she turns his brainwashing thing all the way up and watches out for that. So now, After getting his butt kicked by Mandalorians 2 seasons in a row, he's decided to make his own best car armor, and it turns out the abandoned Mandalore was a perfect secret base. He's got a whole fleet here. So, as the Mandalorians escape the Big One, Vizsla stays behind for an epic last stand. Din Djarin was captured, he's fighting to break free, and let's go back for a second earlier. Amanda wanted to rebuild his droid friend IG-11, who saved them in Season 1, without a new memory core. Though it's not possible, it is possible to turn him into a walking mech suit for Baby Yoda and his papa Mando. I don't think so, but Baby Yoda loves it. Oh, he's walking around with a yes or no voice button. He can get into so much more trouble. So now, yes, he busts in there to save his papa Mando. They go hunting down Moff Gideon. They find his force power clones, which are almost ready. Oh, absolutely not to destroy all those. Then they find the man himself, and it's time for their epic rematch. Meanwhile, the other Mandalorians have regrouped, and now they're all flying in. Bo-Katan whips out the Darksaber and it's an epic jetpack flying battle. Oh yeah, then Book 10 comes down for her epic rematch with Gideon. Oh yeah, she's got the Darksaber but his new supersuit grabs her hand and breaks it. Oh, the Darksaber is destroyed. So as things look bleak, they've got to take this whole base out by crashing their big ship into it. Our main characters keep him down here, so boom, math. Gideon incinerated and our crew's okay because Baby Yoda with the force field protected them and saves the day, and so we've made it to the Mandalorians who have retaken Mandalore. Now it's time for Grogu to level up in this cult from foundling to apprentice, but for that, he needs parental permission, and so they make it official. Din Djarin adopts him. He's now Din Grogu, but they're not sticking around here. Part of being an apprentice, you have to go off on a journey, so Mando goes to his New Republic friend. Hey, you guys have your hands full out here. We're available as freelance bounty hunters. They make Navarro their home base, where they found a new IG memory unit, so IG-11's back as the Marshal of Navarro, and so after 3 seasons of being on the run fighting to survive, Mando and Baby Yoda finally settle down and get to live happily ever after, except of course for a potentially infinite number of awesome new adventures, and that's where The Mandalorian Season 3 comes to an end. If you like this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best TV and movie re-recaps.